Hey, hi, hello, my name is Mia Marie. I'm a Western tropical astrologer and I make videos about both astrology and tarot. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Today, I'm going to be talking about July's astrology and how it directly impacts you. Now, to begin with, the general energy. July is going to be a month of slowing down. If you follow other astrologers, I'm sure they've said the same thing. And the reason why is we have so many planets in retrograde. Now, when you hear retrograde or when you see it on social media, people like to put the emphasis on revisit, revise, restart, and all those things are true. The way that I like to think about it is when there are retrogrades, there are certain software updates that we have to download. And in order to do that, we have to pause our productivity. And if we attempt to interrupt the software update, it could fuck it up in one way or another. And the way that we're going to go about getting this software update is we're going to do the Cancer thing. We're going to pull back and observe. We're going to collect as much information about our environment and then contemplate, what do I want to do in response to what's happening around me? While there are multiple planets in retrograde, I will say that Venus is the life coach at this time and actually throughout the entire year. And what she does is she goes, okay, what do you value and why do you value it? You have a set of values and morals, I suspect. But are you living by them or is it just wishful thinking? And the way that you'll grow in your awareness as to where you stand with your relationship to your morals and values is you will have multiple opportunities where there is choice. There will be choices presented to you that reflect your past, your present, and your future. And it's up to you to see which one you gravitate towards or which one that you mindfully choose. And these kinds of conversations, these choices that we're being presented with are important because in the middle of July, we have the South Node sliding back through Libra. And that means that we are going to be called out aggressively for all the ways in which we are codependent or over-reliant on others to the point where we will willingly sacrifice our identity, our courage, and our authenticity to be a part of a group or to be in connection. No matter how fake and phony it is. So without further ado, let's see where this is happening for you. Leo rising on July 1st and 2nd. So right now you are having a gentle, subtle appreciation for something that happened in your career space. It could be that you have lost a job because it just didn't align with your morals and values and personality. And in this gap between jobs, it has positively affected your mental health and your spirituality. On July 3rd, we have a full moon in Capricorn. It's great energy. I made a full video on it if you want to watch it. It's on my channel. But this is happening for you in your 12th and your 6th house. So you are going to be releasing routines, patterns, beliefs around health that just don't really fit anymore. And I see you heavily focused on all the ways in which you self-undo, cause harm. You might be addressing any obsessions or any unconscious motivations that drive you to do specific things. This is also a period of time, Cancer season, every year is going to be a time where you lose your sense of self. You don't quite know who you are, and it's because you're in between worlds. You have one foot in the past, but you can't quite reach the future yet. It's almost like there's a thick fog in front of you. For example, if you were previously a workaholic who was booked from the moment you woke up until the minute that you went to sleep, I see you changing up that pattern. You could also be putting your time towards endeavors and projects that don't pay you in money, but pay you in other ways. And because the full moon is happening at a square aspect between the nodes, this feels fated. You feel as if this is a legendary moment in your life, and there may have been an emotional falling out in the career space, and you're using that emotion as fuel to make you better, to make you more solid. That is directly what's driving you to focus on your spiritual wealth, health, and mental well-being. From July 1st to the 9th, we have Venus and Mars making a conjunction in your first house. This can manifest multiple different ways. You can be acting quite theatrical, dramatic, over the top because you want some attention and appreciation because there are other gaps in your life. Or it could be that you're working on your mental health and you are naturally glowing, or there's some radiance to your aura. Or people have choice words about what you are doing with your time, how you're developing, at what rate you're developing, and you will need to exercise courage to protect your identity in the face of criticism. Do not listen to the calls back to normalcy or to previous versions of yourself. On July 10th, two things happen. Mercury moves into Leo and Mars moves into Virgo. So when Mercury moves into Leo, it's like, hear me, hear me. You're holding the mic. You have something to say. You have a message that you want to share. You've had a revelation of sorts as it relates to your sanity, your vitality, and your ego in its expression. You feel as if your mind is starting to get straight. You can see things clearly. With Virgo going into your second house, this could be people poking holes in your confidence, your competence. If you are trying to get a job, it could be particularly hard because people are they're striving for perfection. You could be striving for perfection rather than progress, and that can set you back. But this transit does exist to purify and humble you. Also, Mars being here could say that you do need to exercise some kind of will and effort towards developing your talent, skills, and abilities. You may be taking on a new venture. You may be striving towards a new career path, and that requires being a learner, learning how to self-sustain. You could also be focused on, money could be particularly tough right now. If you have Mars going through your house of income and your shared resources have Neptune there, money could be really inconsistent or unreliable, and that can be causing some insecurity. On July 17th, there are tons of shifts. Some happen quickly and others will take a year at least. So the first one is the new moon in Cancer. This is happening in your 12th house. So these are silent wins. There's something that you've been holding. There's an emotional burden or a spiritual burden that's been weighing you down, and you have been slowly taking things off. And finally, we've reached a moment where you can exhale, you feel release. And in the place of the baggage, you feel like you are loved, you are supported, you are nurtured, like you have your own back. It's opposite Pluto, so there is some emotional intensity that you can't quite put your finger on, but just keep your feelers out. If you feel like you've been involved in some kind of spiritual warfare, this is the moment where it's done, it's over, it's laid to rest for good. Now, the second thing that happens is the nodes move into Aries and Libra. So there's something about your communication style that's just not working. I sense that you will say the thing that people want to hear in order to keep the peace, in order to fabricate connectivity, and you're giving self-betrayal in the process. This is going to last a year. So there's going to be something about needing to say how you really feel, even if it causes a couple of waves. You will also want to travel. Maybe you're thinking about going back to college, or maybe going to college abroad. I see an emphasis on you needing to understand who you are and focusing on your own philosophy on life. It's very Sagittarian mixed with Aries. It's impulsive and fiery. There's this passion inside of you to understand who you are to yourself in the world. And the last thing happening on July 17th that I'll highlight is we have Jupiter and Taurus making a square aspect to Mercury and Leo in your first house, 10th and 12th. So there's some tension between public image and your current identity. I just think that maybe you get a job interview that looks promising, or there is some opportunity that presents itself and it feels too good to be true, or someone is telling you something so sweet about your talent, skills, and abilities and its effect on the greater community, but it's Jupiterian at a square aspect, so it's full of nothing but hot air. I wouldn't take any financial risks, especially, and I definitely wouldn't sign any contracts, but do whatever the fuck you want. It's your life. You could also be wearing a false mask to get a job and it's not working. It won't work. On July 22nd, that is when it's full steam ahead. The sun finally moves into Leo. The sun loves being in Leo because the sun and Leo have the same agenda. They want to shine. They want to be appreciated. They want to inspire. They want to give life. And so here is the moment where you start to rediscover who you are, or create or establish who you are. At the same time, Venus retrograde is happening, and this is happening in your first house. So it's you. You could be having some pretty nostalgic memories about the past. There could be unfinished business that you're looking back on, like, man, I would really like to talk to that person. Like, this seems really fun. I do see you being pulled back into nostalgia as you're trying to establish who you are. And this energy, this pull reaches its peak on July 26th when Venus retrograde makes a conjunction to Mercury in your first house. So I see you picking up that phone and just being like, hey, how's it going? Shooting an email, calling, texting, initiating a conversation with someone. It could be vice versa, but it's Leo and you're Leo rising, so do keep in mind that this impetus or this impulsive desire to communicate with someone doesn't mean that they're supposed to be in your life. In fact, that exchange might exist for the sole purpose of helping you detangle any emotional knots in your system, or just getting that final conversation out so you can officially move on and let go. We end the month, July 30th, with Jupiter and Taurus making a trine to Mars and Virgo in your second house, 10th and 2nd. This means that you are working on developing yourself, and opportunities for career advancement or a job are presenting itself. You are recognizing what you want, what it takes to get there, and you are also kind of at the right place at the right time. It feels fated in a strange way. So congratulations. It seems like whatever self-confidence issues you were struggling with in the middle of the month are assuaged by the end. Well, that's all I have for you. If you would like to work one-on-one with me, you can find me at wellandrising.com/services. Toodles.